Hello, hello, hello. I'm Poetic Heretic, and yes, believe it or not, I'm at long last creating some more paranormal themed content for this channel. I really, really am. So before we get to the article that I will be reading in this stream about this mysterious cursed village legend in Japan, let me explain briefly why I'm doing this. So I thought about this recently, and I decided that since the paranormal is still a strong interest of mine, not as strong as what it has been eclipsed by, which is essentially the occult, things like astrology and tarot, but still fairly strong. It's a solid level of interest. I would still like to create some paranormal themed content occasionally. Now, I know before you may have heard me say something like, well, those days are over and it's only going to be astrology and tarot and like occult and spiritual stuff from now on, that sort of thing. But, that was quite a while ago. And actually, for probably a few months or so now, I have found myself missing a little bit, the sort of spooky, creepy, paranormal themed vibe that we once had on this channel. And so I thought, well, why not bring it back? So this is what I'm going to do from now on. Every Monday evening, as long as I can stick to it, and I think I can, I'm going to select one piece of paranormal themed content, like an article or a story or something, and read that and maybe analyze it, maybe talk about it a little bit on stream, but at least read it, and for your viewing pleasure and my reading pleasure, I suppose. I'll probably try to stick a lot more to stuff that has at least a chance of being true. Like, you're not going to find me just reading outright fiction just for the sake of creepy vibes anytime soon. I mean, nothing against people who do that, but that's just not what I'm about. But we will look at legends and things like we are looking at tonight that maybe they're not truly real, or well, no one knows, but they're at least a real legend. Like the legend itself, the fact that there's a legend is real. Does that make sense? Like, what the legend's about may not be real, but the legend as a legend is real. Hey there, Star-Lord. What's up? Old school you is coming back. Exactly. A little bit. Once a week, every Monday. I figure since Monday is ruled by the moon in astrology, which, primarily is about other things, but a sort of sub-meaning of it, or subdivision of its meaning, is it connects into all kinds of spooky stuff, and just the moon at night and everything. I thought that would be the most appropriate day of the 3 days that I typically stream, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, to talk about paranormal stuff, some paranormal themed stuff. So as you can see, I've turned the lights down a little bit. Really, I've just turned my lamp slightly so it's not on me as strongly, because this is our spooky hour or half hour, whatever it ends up being. Probably very short, probably just a half hour, if even that. So that's my new plan. Every Monday evening, a paranormal themed article or story or whatever. So now, without further ado, let us begin. This is an article from mysteriousuniverse.org, my favorite source for all things paranormal and spooky and weird. And it is entitled "A Mysterious Lost Cursed Village in Japan." And it is by Brent Swanser. I remember when I started watching you, it was a Dogman Werewolf episode. Oh, really? That's cool. Yeah. I love listening to stories about Dogman, and like I still listen to the Ghostly Talk podcast occasionally. Love that. I still enjoy the paranormal. It's still very much an interest of mine, especially in recent times with this Neptune slowly but surely applying to a sextile to my natal Mercury. All kinds of spooky stuff is becoming fascinating to my mind. But yeah, so here we are. Hiking out in the wilds of Kyushu's Fukuoka Prefecture in Japan. You'll have to excuse me if I mess up the pronunciation of some of these Japanese terms. One might be enchanted by the vast expanses of unspoiled mountainous wilderness here. One might be lulled into thinking that this is a quaint and peaceful pocket away from Japan's bustling metropolises, and that would not be wrong. However, as you hike along, you might come to a curious tunnel cutting through Inunaki Mountain, imposing and frightening with the darkness that lies within. If you are brave enough to make your way along this murky route, you may hear voices or wailing from the gloom, maybe even see shadow figures. And if you are able to run this gauntlet of strangeness, you will be deposited back out into the light of day, where you might find a little side path meandering off. Follow this, and you will come to the sight of a curious crooked sign posted on a tree ahead, which has scrawled upon it the words, "Japanese regulations and constitutions do not apply here," beyond which you will see an abandoned ghost town of an old Edo era village, and if you are lucky, you might just return to tell the tale. Welcome to the legendary Inunaki village, where strange tales, spooky phenomena, and mysterious vanishings are the order of the day, and from where you will be lucky to make it out alive. The immediate area itself is already the home of spooky paranormal tales revolving around the Inunaki Toge Tunnel, also called the Old Inunaki Tunnel, which happened to have been the scene of a mass cave-in that killed dozens of construction workers as it was being built. It is also purportedly prowled by the spirit of a man who died here in 1988 after a group of thugs tried to burn him alive. The victim is said to have escaped into the tunnel even as the flames consumed him, eventually dying right in the middle of the tunnel after committing suicide to end the excruciating pain of his ordeal. The perpetrators never faced justice, and ever since then, motorists have reported an apparition appearing beside their car. An unexplained brake failure is also frequently reported from here. There is also supposedly the spirit of a woman who was murdered here, and the now abandoned tunnel has been considered one of the most haunted in Japan for quite some time. The nearby Inunaki Ridge also has a reputation as a most haunted spot, full of ghostly screams and wails that permeate the air at night. This is all very eerie, but it is perhaps even more interesting in how it pertains to the old legend of the cursed Inunaki village. They show a beautiful picture here. It is said that if one can make it through this tunnel, there will be a trail that leads off into the wilderness, and it is along this feral, overgrown trail that one can find the hidden village, which does not exist on any map. It is supposedly very small, hidden, choked by wilderness, and easy to miss, even by some accounts only revealing itself to certain individuals. And there is supposedly a dark history behind this place. The story goes that its inhabitants chose to close all ties with the outside world in the Edo period between 1603 and 1868, after which it became a sort of special preserve considered outside of the laws of the country. The villagers were said to be part of a strange cult carrying out arcane rituals, and there are stories of madness and murder here, with death, incest, and cannibalism supposedly a common occurrence. One night, a villager supposedly went insane and slaughtered 33 of his fellow villagers in a bloodbath, after which this forsaken place was struck from maps and left to rot. From here, the weirdness begins. According to the tales, the village still exists, populated by inbred survivors who have riddled the place with traps and will attack anyone who comes here with axes and sickles. Stories of hikers and explorers disappearing in the area are sometimes blamed on this legendary village, and it has its share of ghostly phenomena as well. Electronic devices supposedly won't work here, and there are said to be phantom hounds that prowl the wilds and a ghost who wields a sickle shambling about. There is all manner of talk of interdimensional portals, bouts of lost time, and demons conjured up by the villagers, and it is all very scary and pervasive as a Japanese urban legend, finding its way online where it is discussed by many commenters claiming to have found it. But is there any truth to all of this? Is there some reclusive village out in the mountains beyond Japanese law and populated by madmen, ghosts, demons, and maybe worse? As a matter of fact, there is indeed a village called Inunaki, but it seems to actually be separate from this legend. The real Inunaki village was once a major coal mining town working for the Kuroda clan until much of it was devastated by a flood in 1889, after which it was largely either abandoned or absorbed by neighboring villages, to the point that it does not really exist anymore as anything other than a memory. It was indeed a real place, but not the one that people speak of in legends of the area. One of the ideas is that this is all based on a creepypasta type story that started making the rounds in 1999, when a poster on a Japanese message board told of having found this mysterious village out in the middle of nowhere, of seeing the sign announcing its existence outside of law, and being attacked by maniacal villagers, before ending his post with a plea for someone to go check it all out. You can see the original post here, and then they give a link. The fourth comment down, although it is all in Japanese, it is all very unsettling, but very difficult to verify in any way. While over the years this cursed village would gain momentum in similar forms and draw in people with all sorts of strange stories to tell about it, it seems that it all more or less comes back to this one original post. This definitely gives it the feel of an internet urban legend in the making, and also raising a red flag is that much of the story of this lost Inunaki village can be seen in a series of J-horror video game called Siren and Forbidden Siren. The games feature a village called Hanuda, which bears many of the hallmarks of the mystical Inunaki village. Hanuda is also a hidden village in the mountains, full of villagers that follow some bizarre cult, and it is also the site of a massacre that killed 33 people. Here there are abandoned houses filled with blood-stained clothing, and it is a place that lies between dimensions and which can cause someone to vanish without a trace. The games really went all in with it, with numerous fake viral marketing sites that present it as all very real, complete with photographs, which actually happen to be of a totally different creepy village near Tokyo, and they even ask for any further information regarding it. It is all presented in a very believable fashion that might trick some casual readers that it is indeed a real place, but it is all just a viral marketing. It certainly seems that this could have been the inspiration for the story of Inunaki Village, although there have been plenty of people who say it is the other way around, and that the games are based on the real place. Who knows? Yet, this makes it all the more unlikely that such a village exists, as does the complete lack of evidence that this accursed place is really where it is said to be. Japan has no shortage of creepy abandoned villages and shrines, but so far there are none been found riddled with traps and prowled by demons and raving mad villagers. Is there really a hidden village out in the mountains of Japan, full of sinister forces and sequestered away in its own realm of evil? Probably not, but it is certainly a wild story all the same, and one might want to be wary if ever venturing through the area, just in case. And so that concludes that article. So, isn't that some creepy stuff? What I like about that is even though it is just a legend, probably, one can still never say for sure, can they? How can we really know that there isn't this cursed village deep within the recesses of the Japanese wilderness, just teeming with madmen, demonic creatures, and who knows what else is out there in the deep of the wilderness that so few have explored. The Japanese are quite creepy with their supernatural. They are. I'll be back soon. All right, Star-Lord. See you soon. Yeah, it also, I must admit, reminded me of Silent Hill to some extent. You know, they say it was a coal mining town, like the original place, and they talked about, you know, these strange rituals and stuff like that. It's like, wow, it sounds like Silent Hill, and of course, that's originally a Japanese video game, isn't it? I'm like 99.9% sure. So why don't we see if we can access that message board real quick, though? See if it'll just come up for us. The post that started it all. Okay, it's connecting, I think. Okay, here it comes. And yes, I will show it once it loads. If it does load. Apparently it's the fourth post down, but yeah, it is indeed all in Japanese. So 1, 2, 3. Well, the third one's really long. I wonder if it's not the third one. I don't know. Well, this is all I'm seeing right now. Is all this Japanese text. So unless you can read Japanese, I don't think this is going to be relevant. However, there is an option, or there was, yeah, here it is, to switch to English. I think it's like an auto translate thing from Google. So let's just see what happens. Maybe we can read it somewhat in English. It is a bit scary to read about Inunaki Pass in this. Okay, I'm just going to read the first 2 posts, at least. Also, it is unconfirmed, but it is said that the closest public phone of a certain convenience store does not reach 110. It's something you can see right away. That's the first post. And then the second post, what does it mean to not communicate? Is the phone strange? Or is the police refusing reception? Remember, this is like an auto-translated thing. Oh, here we go. Okay, it wasn't like translating the third one, now it did. But they said it was the fourth post. Hang on. Fourth post. No, that can't be right. It has to be the third one, because the third one is far more extensive. All right, let's see here. This is the third post. It is difficult to find, so I will reprint it. Requester anonymous. Title: A village in Japan that is not Japan. Request details. There's a very famous psychic spot called Inunaki Pass in Fukuoka Prefecture. I don't believe in any spirits, but this area seems to be a very strange place, except for what it is. Of Inunaki Pass, it is usually next to a tunnel footpath there that would definitely overlooked you will. As you climb the ridge, the road becomes narrower. Still, when you go up, there are villages that are not on the map. It seems that there is a sign on the middle of the ridge that says, I won't go ahead with the Constitution of Japan. Again, this is auto-translated. One night, an acquaintance trying to go to the village found a prefabricated hut at the village entrance. When I stopped at the car and looked at the prefab, I noticed that 4 or 5 men had gathered and looked at me with so-called sharp eyes. They approached the car at great speed. This is dangerous, that's in quotes. If no wanted to draw a road which came in a hurry is needed, entrance of the village can suddenly widens for U-turn. I seem to have returned, but the back of the car so was in tatters in the kind of Acts 2. Another acquaintance I went to the village at noon was that there was nobody in the village at noon. There were several houses with wooden doors and open places like squares. The island is called the White Car of the route number had been left to become messy. Now it's really just getting nebulous. Consensus, if, for example, earlier Shimani of a couple in this region had a story that was missing was ... In addition, in the surrounding, oddly enough, where manufacturers of mobile phones becomes out of range, also occur strange phenomenon. Mine was also so. In addition, it is unconfirmed, but it is said that the closest public telephone at a certain convenience store is not reachable from 110. I heard from some people that this village is a quote-unquote special management area where police and state power cannot intervene. Certainly, regardless of the location that is very famous in the local area, coverage of TV, etc., is somehow stopped at the pass. One theory, this village with the outside world or from the time have undergone the Edo era before very terrible discrimination cut off all contact, and self-sufficiency in the village only. Also near the absolute number is less of a woman repeatedly parent incest genetics, so there is also talk that then became a dangerous human, but is just barely mere speculation. I would like an investigation as soon as possible. Recently, the number of young people who are interested in this area is increasing rapidly. Progress not investigated. And that's the end of that post. Then there's other posts that are auto-translated, but I don't know if they're really all that interesting. Or maybe they are, I don't know, I'm looking at them now. One person's like, did you say that all were demons? Ye gods. How unsettling. All right, well, I think that's about it then. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know I certainly did. It was very refreshing to dive into the paranormal a bit again on this channel. So I look forward to doing this again soon, because there's so many mysteries to this world, and those that are paranormal in nature continue to fascinate me. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great night, everyone, and sweet dreams.